Hey guys, thanks for joining today. I just want to talk a little bit about an intro to prong collars for those of you that aren't very familiar. Anybody who has worked with me in the past knows that I'm a huge fan of the Herm Springer prong collar. They're not something that you can find at your local PetSmart. Some pet stores will carry them, but typically they're not Herm Springer brand. They're a little bit poor quality. So I definitely encourage all of my clients and all of my viewers to check out the Herm Springer product. They're really easy to find on Amazon, dog.com, or various websites all along the internet. So let's get started. So there are two main brands, main sizes, I apologize, that I work with when I am sizing a dog. So the most common size that I use is the 2.25. So as you can see, it is a much smaller gauge than its friend, the 3.0. On certain sites, the 2.25 may be categorized as a small, and the 3.0 may be categorized as a medium. Even for very, very large dogs, I do not go higher than a medium. The prong collars may look like they are kind of a one-size-fits-all deal, but that is not necessarily the case. It is very easy to either take links out to make your collar smaller, or add links in to make it larger. Like I said, I typically go with a 2.25 for the majority of my training cases. I like the way they fit better. I like that they're a little bit smaller, a little bit more delicate, and you get more prongs per collar, which allows for a little bit more communication. Although some dogs do much better on a 3.0. So it is kind of a preference. Sometimes it is kind of a trial and error. But if you don't have a massively large dog, I would definitely recommend starting with a 2.25 and maybe getting some extra links. So let me show you how we fit this on demo dogs. We're going to include Lainey today. So Lainey here is going to help us show how to put on a prong collar and how to size it correctly. So you'll see now I have taken the prong collar apart. So it was linked up. You can choose any link, squeeze, and open. So it's that simple. On the 3.0, it's a little tougher to get it open until you get the hang of it, but just squeeze and push and squeeze and pop. So that's the gist. When you have it on the dog, you want to make sure that you put the chain part around the back of the neck. You're not going to want to do much twisting here. You're going to want to pretty much have it in place. So I'm going to put this on Lainey, and I don't know if you can see from the video, but it's a little tight. She's got a pretty small neck for a boxer, lots of extra skin, but I'm thinking this is a little tight for her. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab one extra link. Back to my collar. So if you find yourself needing an extra link, they are very cheap to buy online. I believe you can get them on Amazon for $1 or $2. Again, dog.com, best prices out there. So, you know, you can buy one link, you can buy 6 if you have a growing dog. It might not be a terrible idea to overestimate the amount of links that you'll need. Come here. Sit. Sit. Come on. Good girl. Lainey's getting a little impatient. She wants to do whatever fun thing we're supposed to do today, but it's a trick. We're not doing something that fun today. Sit, Bug. Good girl. So I added our extra link in here, and now I'm going to place it around her neck. So because of the area that I took the link out of, or unlinked it rather, I linked it back up on the side. As you can see, it's sitting very high on her neck here. Any lower, and you're going to need to use the same amount of force that you would be using with a flat buckle collar or a harness in order to get good attention and good positioning, good directional control out of your dog. which we don't want and is not the concept of a prong collar. The other thing, when it is too low, typically means that it is too loose. So if it's too loose, what you're going to have is chafing, redness, and again, that extra force. Prong collars are supposed to be used very gently. You're not typically using a prong collar with any sort of force, or at least you shouldn't be using it with any sort of force. It should be very gentle communication from your hand through the leash to the dog. Should not be a two-handed deal, and it should not be used with much force at all, because these are powerful tools. So when used incorrectly, you can cause an unnecessary pain or discomfort, I should say, which we don't want to do to our dogs. It's not the point. We're not trying to scare them. We're not trying to hurt them. We're just trying to communicate with them. So when your dog is wearing a prong collar, there is no reason why they should not also be wearing their regular collar with tags on it. Your dog should always be identifiable. God forbid something happens. It also never hurts to take the flat ring, the O-ring, which I can show you. So here's our 3.0. So it never hurts to take this O-ring and connect it to the ring on your dog's collar in order to back it up as a safety precaution. So if you are on a walk and your prong collar malfunctions for whatever reason, you'll always have the backup. So a lot of people do that with a carabiner or a very short tether, fabric tether, which is not as bulky as a carabiner, so some people prefer that. When you are walking your dog, you're always going to walk them using the D-ring. This D-ring swivels, so it allows for movement in the collar, which the O-ring would not allow for. So because we don't really want the collar moving on us, sliding around the neck, anything like that, connecting by the swivel ring, the D-ring, is definitely your best option. If you are nervous about overcorrecting your dog, Herm Springer does recommend connecting the leash to both the O-ring and the D-ring, so you could put them together. This minimizes the amount of pull that you can give your dog. I don't typically tell my clients to do that. Basically, it is pretty simple to make sure that you are just being gentle. Some dogs require a little bit more force than others, but don't overdo it to begin with. Go easy, and if you feel like they're not responding, they're not feeling or acknowledging the message that you're trying to send them, then you can go a little tougher. But we're not, again, this is nothing crazy, nothing super strong. We're not trying to hurt them. This corrections of any sort, corrections or communication, should never be given out of frustration. So even if your dog is being a little jerky, a little bratty, a little crazy, we still don't want to let our frustration of their behavior in that moment reflect on the communication that we're giving through the leash, because ultimately you're probably going to overcorrect, and that's not a good thing. We want to try to keep our emotions steady even when our dogs are being a little all over the place. So it takes some time to get it. You may overcorrect your dog. It might happen. It does happen with a lot of people, but you will realize what you are doing, and dogs are forgiving animals. So as long as you know that, oh, maybe that was a little too much, he didn't need all of that, you'll be fine. He'll forgive you. He won't get mad. And you guys can move forward from that, and you'll be fine. So that is our intro to prong collar video. I hope you are not as bored as Lainey over here. And if you have any questions, feel free to hit us up at everywheredog.net. Bye. So everybody meet Nico. This is his first training session and his first introduction to prong collars. here we're going to show you how we introduce prong collars to a dog and teach them how pressure on and pressure off works. So we'll start by doing a little bit of a dance with the dog. So we get him in a position where he's far away from us, and then we give him a little tug, a little gentle guidance to come over here, come towards me. And we go through this for a while until the dog figures out that, okay, when there's tension in the leash, when there's a little bit of pressure in the collar, it means that she wants me to do something. It means that she wants me to pay attention. It means that she's asking something of me. And then when the tension goes off, they realize, okay, I did it. So it's a really straightforward way for your dog to understand exactly what you want from them. So this prong collar dance can go on for a little bit of time, depending on the dog, depending on their stubbornness or their willingness to comply. Or some dogs don't want to leave your side, so it's a little bit tough to get the pressure on, pressure off when that happens. As you can see right there, Nico's throwing a little bit of a fit. This isn't totally out of the ordinary. Some dogs, flat and plain, do not like being told what to do. So he's trying to stop it. Now, he's feeling that pressure. He's not in pain. This dog has not made an audible noise at all. He just doesn't want to do it. He's just being a little stubborn, a little pushy, and he wants us to stop. This behavior is probably something that he's used to getting away with. If you put up a little bit of a fight, people will usually stop asking you to do it. And most dogs learn this way, and they learn it young. Dogs know what works, and they practice those behaviors. So as you can see, we're still going through the prong collar dance here, although Nico really seems to be understanding exactly what we're asking of him. Once you and your dog have mastered the prong collar dance, it's time to move on to the walk.